यहाँ पे after birth there is no community. Pregnancy में obviously your husband is taking care of you, your whole family is taking care of you. Whenever the baby comes out, you're like all of the attention shifts on the baby, and they're like, baby कैसा है, आप क्या कर रहे हो. When we talked about Goud, the first thing we wanted to do was to create and cultivate a community between moms and parents as well.
And then the father just feels incredibly isolated in that experience as well. And there's like lots of studies that show कि आदमियों को भी postpartum depression होता है.
लेकिन somehow it's perceived कि अपने बच्चे को honey देना होता है. And honey is one of the biggest no-nos for a baby under 1 because it can give you a severe form of allergy in the child. आपके घर में मायका आप लोगों के अंदर जा रहे हैं, आप दावतों पे जा रहे हैं, you're getting a lot of information and a lot of like bad advice also कि आपका बच्चा तो बहुत पतला लग रहा है, बड़ा सूखा सा है.
Mom that's probably even been through that process already, वो आपको आके बता सकती हैं how best to handle that situation. Don't talk about how much she's eating, how much more she's eating. So you really need to step up and be the advocate for your wife. Tell your mom, tell your mother-in-law that they need to sort of back off a little bit, just a little bit. उसकी जो major complaint यही थी कि मेरा मियाँ मुझे appreciate नहीं करता. Maybe he is showing love in a different way that you're not receiving properly. That we were actually making an impact in the way that we wanted to make an impact.
Yeah.
The touch, the sound, the smell, all of that वो बच्चों के लिए बहुत developmentally important होती है.
Yeah.
It was a difficult baby. I was there. It was a difficult baby.
She was a very difficult baby, yes. I feel like adult friendships overall is a very tough area to navigate basically. So my daughter's always like, आप जो काम कर रही हैं, is this related to the pool party? I'm like, yeah, I'm planning out the logistics of it. So I think that's like our first lens of looking out at our target market.
To contact me to get like approvals for things or for like questions कि किस तरह हम चीजें manage करें. For me, that sort of makes me have to work around the clock, which is really hard for me.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome to another episode of How Does It Work, a podcast by Pro Pakistani. Today we have the founders of Goud.pk, Meesha and Ummam Baig. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, good. Good to have you guys on the podcast.
Thank you for calling us.
Acha, so tell us a little bit about Goud.pk for the people who don't know about it.
So Goud is Pakistan's first and only baby and pregnancy milestone tracker app. So we don't have any one of these. We have lots of international ones that come in and they sort of serve the same purpose, but they're not really giving you the holistic approach that we're trying to give you. So what we have going on with Goud is that we have an app. It's got a social forum. It's got your medically accurate information, and it's got all of your sort of articles that you need to go along with your pregnancy and your postpartum experience. We also have lots of other really interesting features where we can talk to other moms. So you can have like individualist chats with them. And you can sort of create a community that's really what we see lacking in Pakistan. So that's what we're trying to do with Goud.
And why do you think that that's lacking in Pakistan, and what sort of problem do you think you guys are fixing?
So basically, I'll start off with why we started it.
Yeah.
ठीक है, तो इसकी inspiration क्या थी? When I got pregnant, I had What to Expect, Baby Center, इस किस्म की apps on my phone all the time. So I was tracking my pregnancy, I was reading what happens every week. But then when the baby was here, I was completely lost. Because जो उनका information था and what we practice over here was completely different. एक तो हमारा family structure बहुत different होता है, हमारी cultural values बहुत different होती है. तो जिस तरह वो कह रहे थे कि we're supposed to care for the baby, I was unable to do that. And I felt like a lot of that stemmed from my postpartum depression with my first one. So when I looked back, when we were having this discussion about, we should probably do something about this, the first thing that I was thinking was कि यहाँ पे after birth, there is no community. Pregnancy में obviously your husband is taking care of you, your whole family is taking care of you, आप obviously एक prized possession से feel कर रहे होते हो.
You're the center of attention.
Exactly. But whenever the baby comes out, you're like, all of the attention shifts on the baby. And they're like, baby कैसा है, आप क्या कर रहे हो, baby को किस तरह feed करा रहे हो, baby किस तरह, is he sleeping through the night, आपको कितना तंग कर रहा है, क्या कर रहा है, क्या नहीं कर रहा है. I feel like एक तो वो जो line of questioning होती है वो, और overall आप खुद जो होते ना बहुत एक messed up place में होते हो. तो when we were talking about this, I felt like कि उस वक्त if I had the option, I would have preferred a community where I could just openly say that I'm having an extremely tough time raising a child. I don't know if I'm doing well. I don't know if I'm doing right by her as well myself. So when we talked about Goud, the first thing we wanted to do was to create and cultivate a community between moms and parents as well. कि एक सेफ स्पेस दी जाए कि आके माँ अपनी थोड़ी सी दुख भरी कहानी सुना दे और उसको दिलासा दिया जाए कि यू आर एक्चुअली डूइंग अ गुड जॉब. Sometimes that sentence itself is a huge pat on the back. कि अच्छा, you're doing well by your child and you yourself.
And do you think जो differences आते हैं say between the same things that are happening in the West or anywhere outside of Pakistan is primarily because of the family dynamic? Is it because you're getting different kinds of advice? What are the major differences?
So I would say एक तो misinformation बहुत है यहाँ पे. I feel like
Can you give me an example of misinformation?
that would be कि बच्चे को जो जब पैदा होते साथ ही हमने गुट्टी देनी होती है. I don't know if I'm saying, एक वो होता है कि आपने मीठा सा उस बच्चे को, लेकिन somehow it's perceived कि अपने बच्चे को हनी देना होता है. And honey is one of the biggest no-nos for a baby under 1 because it can give you a severe form of allergy in the child. तो वो paralysis भी हो सकता है आपके बच्चे को. The baby can even die. It's extremely dangerous. So I feel like that is like the biggest misinformation. Another is कि आपने baby को feed कैसे करना है. Is formula feeding better? Is breastfeeding better? I feel like ये debate वहाँ West में अब completely change हो गई है. They switch around. They say formula is not a good thing to give to your child, and they're advocating for breastfeeding. I feel like यहाँ पे it's actually the opposite, at least in my experience, that formula feeding is better than breastfeeding.
Okay.
तो आई फेल्ट लाइक एक वो भी हमारा बहुत एडिड प्रेशर होता है कि मॉम, एक तो ओवरऑल आपका एडिड प्रेशर होता है ना ससुराल या आपके घर में मायका, आप लोगों के अंदर जा रहे हैं, आप दावतों पे जा रहे हैं, यू गेटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन एंड अ लॉट ऑफ लाइक बैड एडवाइस ऑल्सो कि आपका बच्चा तो बहुत पतला लग रहा है, बड़ा सूखा सा है, ये सोता भी नहीं है, रोता भी रहता है, इसको मेरे ख्याल कोई मसला है, कोई तो मसला है. तो वो जो मसला होता है ना वो फिर आपके दिमाग में एज अ न्यू मॉम,
That's all you can think about.
That's all you think about. Something is wrong, something wrong, something wrong. So we wanted to give that space जहाँ पे आपको proper actual information मिले कि ये सही है, ये नहीं है.
और Goud और PK जो है, is it a one-way conversation or is it like a community where they can, so for example, आप 4-5 चीज़ें highlight कर रही हो, लेकिन a mother or father for that matter has a different problem, one that has not been brought up.
True.
How does that person bring it up?
So basically, we have a social forum on the app itself. So the app currently is available for beta testing on the App Store.
ठीक है.
So on the Play Store. I'm sorry. Android wale can download it and then they can start using it for it. We're working on the App Store version right for now.
And do you have like a Facebook group or?
We have like an Instagram, not
Very
a Facebook.
active Instagram.
Very active Instagram.
Okay.
So the reason why we didn't create a Facebook group was because the app serves that purpose. आपका social forum है वहाँ पे. If you have any question, if you have any concern, if you have like any overwhelming, underwhelming, कोई भी किस्म की feeling कर रही है, just pop it over there, and moms from that community will come and help you, and tell you,
give them their personal experience and sort of guide you from a mom that's probably even been through that process already. वो आपको आके बता सकती हैं how best to handle that situation. So you can post to the social forum anytime, you put up a picture even, you can write down anything you have an issue with. People can then comment and like sort of share their feelings about the topic as well.
Two-way communication between the parents हो जाती है.
And on average, are there males using this as well? And what percentage would we be looking at?
I think we're probably at a 1%.
Yeah.
percentage.
But I feel like it's still a huge thing that 1%
Yeah.
of the Pakistani
that's
population.
actually great, yeah.
Yeah, Pakistani population is actually interested in downloading the app and using it.
And we've gotten some great feedback from our male users as well, that they're sort of learning information that they probably didn't know before. Because हमारा जो articles वाला section है, we have like this whole section which is just dedicated to relationship articles, where we talk a lot about how dads can contribute towards parenting. Because I think यहाँ पे एक और बहुत बड़ा issue है कि आदमियों को completely sideline कर देते हैं. हम कहते हैं ये अम्मा का काम है, वो कर लेगी, बच्चा पैदा किया, just leave it to her, let her do whatever she wants. And then the father just feels incredibly isolated in that experience as well. And there's like lots of studies that show कि आदमियों को भी postpartum depression होता है, because they're not sort of getting that same support that maybe their wife is sort of getting from their own mothers. So when you bring that aspect into it, it comes from a lot of not knowing what to do and how to help your wife going through that experience, because I don't think any husband wants to see their wife going through depression. So we have lots of like helpful articles on what to do and how to sort of handle a situation that could come up during pregnancy or postpartum.
Can you give me some examples of what a husband could do in certain situations?
Yeah, sure. So I recently, I think maybe like 2 days ago, wrote an article about what not to say to your pregnant wife. So there
तो
was
क्या नहीं बोलना
क्या नहीं बोलना चाहिए और
And I
कुछ,
think
yeah.
this stemmed majorly from what I don't know if you saw Ranbir Kapoor and Alia Bhatt's video that went
No.
viral.
No,
where,
what happened?
Ranbir Kapoor basically said कि ये तो फैलाओ ही
Oh,
जाती है.
I saw this. Yes.
So I think that is basically
That really triggered me. I was like, that's not a nice thing to say to your pregnant wife.
in front of everybody.
Yeah, so I just went on to like a nice 5-number list of what things you shouldn't be saying.
So what are the things?
Definitely don't mention her weight. Don't talk about how much she's eating, how much more she's eating, how much she is having a lot of mood swings. Do not mention those. Just sort of take them in stride. You have to sort of realize that those things are not targeted at you. They're targeted at the situation. So don't take them personally. Then other things that you really have to advocate for your wife and for your baby. So because the wife is already in a vulnerable position, she's not going to be able to say the things that she wants to say without getting emotional because her hormones are going crazy. So you really need to step up and be the advocate for your wife. Tell your mom, tell your mother-in-law that they need to sort of back off a little bit, just a little bit. कि कुछ चीज़ें जो है जो बार बार नहीं कहनी चाहिए कि वो तुम तो वेट ही नहीं गेन कर रही हो, तुमने तो बहुत ज़्यादा वेट गेन कर लिया है. Any of this during pregnancy is just, I think not. I don't think any woman ever wants to hear about her weight.
Yeah.
But definitely not during pregnancy.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And with these sort of conversations, have you guys experienced or met? I mean, you have a community of people. Have you had a positive impact on anyone yet? And what are those stories like?
Yeah, so we've done about 4 support groups so far. We had one in Lahore, and we did 2 back-to-back in Lahore. And one of them she came in, a woman, and she had just had a baby, so she was going through postpartum depression. And she was having a fairly severe bout of it, and she really did not want to acknowledge the fact that she was having it. That sort of postpartum depression was also leading her to not have the best relationship with her husband because बहुत resentment built up हो जाती है. The other person is not understanding what you're trying to say. You're not able to communicate your needs properly in that time either. And then उसकी जो major complaint यही थी कि मेरा मियाँ मुझे appreciate नहीं करता, which I think is a very big sentiment across Pakistan. So
Why do you think that is? Like, what are the Pakistani males not doing right? Like,
I would say like अच्छा, if you want me to give like a very क्या कहते हैं अच्छा answer, तो it would be कि लोगों की love languages vary करती हैं. The way they express their love is different. So I feel like majority of our men don't use the words of affirmation वाली जो language होती है.
What's the 5 love languages?
Acts of service होती है, which is basically you
Yeah.
do something for your wife or whoever you love. The other is words of affirmation, which is basically कि आप you tell them you're doing a good job and stuff. Which is normally I feel like कि हमारी women की ये normally words of affirmation होती है love language. तीसरी होती है
Physical touch.
yeah, there's gifts or something.
Yeah, gifts
I've read
giving,
this as
and
well.
then there's another one which is acts of service, words of affirmation, physical touch, gift
Gifts.
giving, and
I think there's
quality time.
Quality time.
हाँ, तो
Okay.
again I think that's again we compromise on that a little bit too. तो वो I think vary करती है, तो जिसकी वजह से I feel like कि a lot of women have complaints कि the men don't appreciate us that much.
So we
because-
then asked her to go and do this quiz
Quiz
with
with
her
her
husband,
husband,
sort of figure out where that issue is coming up. कि आपको maybe he is showing love in a different way that you're not receiving properly. So I think maybe they did do it because then we went back a month later. We did another workshop. She came to us and she
was
just was so appreciative, and she just said, you guys really did change the way that I see life in general, the way I'm seeing my relationship now. I am so much happier, and she definitely looked so much happier as
She
well.
looked happier.
So that was like a big affirming sort of situation for us that we were actually making an impact in the way that we wanted to make an impact.
Yeah.
So, and we've had a few more where they've just talked about how their kids have changed.
What are the next 5 years looking like, and what do you guys have in mind for Goud.pk going forward?
Do you wanna?
So basically there are 2 ways of इसको business को ना I think we हम 2 streams में इसको लेके जाना चाहते हैं. One is the social media side, which is the Instagram,
ठीक है.
and we obviously want to monetize the Instagram and take some content from the app and put it on the Instagram. The app itself, we see it go in a lot of directions. Basically, it's something that it could be the core of female reproductive health education in Pakistan. we could go in that direction. There's another direction where we bring in actual medical professionals onto the platform where you can, non-emergent questions. आपने डॉक्टर से पूछना है तो आप उस पर वो पूछ सकते हैं. That is another way that we want to go in. Another way is, that's again 5-year need, so I would say maybe like a 6 or 7-year plan would be to have like a proper physical setup itself, where we host play dates, where we do workshops, where we have educational syllabus and curriculum as well, जिसके अंदर जो professions यहाँ पे नहीं होते, which is basically the lactation consultant.
What's a lactation consultant?
So basically, she teaches you how to breastfeed your child.
Achha.
She teaches you ways in which you can successfully breastfeed your child till 2 years.
और ये पाकिस्तान में इस तरह के स्पेशलिस्ट हैं?
यहाँ पे
One.
सिर्फ one.
Yeah, so we have one all over Pakistan.
And that's like a doctor with this degree, or how do you become a lactation specialist?
So इसका एक course होता है. If I'm not wrong, I think इसके 4 या 5 steps होते हैं. So basically, you become there's like a educator होता है, and then I think it's like a counselor होता है, and then you do another specialty.
You're meant to do like 400 to 1,000 hours in a clinic in America, working with a lactation consultant that's already working there, and then you become sort of certified to become a lactation
but you don't need to
consultant.
have like a medical background for that.
ठीक है.
So it's just like a course that you keep doing. तो आप
ठीक है.
end पे पहुंच सकते हो. तो we only have like one lactation consultant in Pakistan.
And how do they make money?
Through consultancy,
Okay.
like clinics,
Clinics,
होते हैं.
etc.
No, they have
Hospitals
their
के साथ attached होते हैं.
Yeah.
ठीक है.
Pediatricians mostly.
And you said that you had like multiple ways to go forward. One of the things you mentioned was play dates. Can you walk me a little bit through why that's important? And also, like, how does it work for you guys? Right? What do you guys do?
So हमारी playdates जो होती हैं, they're essentially we pick a topic that we want to sort of encourage in Pakistan. So we recently did one in soft play, which is very important for children of a younger age to sort of learn how to have that sort of sensory activity that sort of teaches them about ways to enhance their 5 senses. So the touch, the sounds, the smell, all of that, वो बच्चों के लिए बहुत developmentally important होती है, because it really shapes the way they learn and how they choose to learn as well. फिर उसके बाद अभी recently we did a football camp, so we saw कि football obviously schools में तो कराई जाती, but it's not very promoted towards girls. Mostly boys की तरफ targeted होती है. So we wanted to sort of open up that area where we could have a woman, it's a female coach that came to us, and she was like, hey, let's run it. So we said, yeah, sure. Tell us what you want to do. How can we help? And we then sort of opened up registrations on our Instagram. We sort of advertised all the benefits to it. I think this is probably the best thing that we have known to do, is to always talk about why something that we're doing, the activity that we're planning on making our kids do, is important for them.
Developmentally.
And how many kids show up to these kind of play dates?
So we
and
had
how old are they?
So we had 25 kids come to the football camp, which was one of our best events that we've done so far. And these kids were from like ages to 3 to like 7 or 8.
Okay.
So it's like a huge
Mix
age
of
range.
हाँ.
And there are so many girls. And like the best thing that I saw about the football camp was that so many dads were involved in the football camp. So this was the first event we've ever saw that the wives were not coming with the kids. It was the dads coming in. So obviously it gives your partner, the father, the opportunity to bond with your kid in a healthy manner, where they can sort of, obviously sports से sportsmanship का जो आइडिया आता है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है बच्चों के लिए. तो वो अगर आप इफ़ यू इन्वॉल्व द डैड इन इट एज वेल, तो इट क्रिएट्स अ वेरी हेल्थी कम्युनिकेशन एंड लाइक सॉर्ट ऑफ बॉन्डिंग बिटवीन द किड एंड द पेरेंट. सो our play days are mostly targeted towards just sort of benefiting the relationship and also benefiting the child itself. And another really great sort of jo uska secondary benefit hota hai is that the parents get to talk to each other. They get to make new friends from kids that, like parents that have the same age range of kids. उनके लिए वो फिर getting socialization हो जाती है. हाँ, you get to know all the struggles they're facing. Again, it serves a very nice sort of supportive environment where they can talk to each other about the issues that they're having. तो वो उनका एक separate चल रहा होता है, बच्चों का separate चल रहा होता है. तो it's a really nice environment.
And is it, in your experiences, tough for parents who have children to make friends with other parents, like-minded parents? क्या ये एक issue है?
I feel like adult friendships overall is a very tough area to navigate basically, because obviously जब school में आप मतलब अपने लोगों से दोस्ती कर रहे होते हैं तो वो obviously you have a lot of shared experiences. When you grow older, it's harder to make friends. It's harder to find people that have the same interests as you. So I feel like this events like these and avenues like these basically give you a push in the direction कि you are kind of inclined to talk to the other mom who's actually maybe उस वक्त वो भी tantrum juggle कर रही है, आप भी tantrum juggle कर रहे हो, और आप दोनों obviously you start bonding and you say कि अच्छा this phase of life is extremely hard, or maybe like an experienced mom comes in कि I've been through this is just a phase, you'll go through it, कुछ भी नहीं होता. So I feel like it's a very wholesome space to be in. उस वक्त I feel like the football camp itself, the pool party itself was very successful. When I was actually going through the insights of the ad, I felt like जो football camp था was normally हमारे ads women को ही target होते हैं, and we normally choose the automatic targeting too. The football camp ad was targeted to the men, and surprisingly, I think around 19 of the sign-ups were by dads.
Acha.
Yeah, and they were the one that got the kid to come to. So
And-
I feel like it's very.
And how old are your kids?
So I have a 4-year-old and I have a 2.5-year-old.
And do you take them to these play dates?
Yes, they do. उनको 4-5 दिन पहले ही पता होता है कि Mama is on the phone and she is probably planning something. तो अभी आजकल we're planning a pool party in Lahore. So they know that they're going over the weekend to Lahore. So my daughter's always like, आप जो काम कर रही हैं, is this related to the pool party? I'm like, yeah, I'm planning out the logistics of it. So she's like, oh, I'm really excited.
Do they have fun?
They have a lot of fun.
They are our biggest supporters. like, half of this stuff is always targeted towards them और उनके through हम बाकी बच्चों को benefit करें.
Exactly, because I feel like that's like the first हमारी key to the demographics that we're targeting. That's like the first thing that we see कि अच्छा बच्चे को अच्छा they're focused on sports now. I think maybe we should start something related to sports. अच्छा water activities बहुत बढ़ती जा रही है. इस पे interest बहुत water का बढ़ रहा है. Maybe like children of the same age have the same things open में. फिर हमने pool party introduce की थी. So I think that's like our first lens of looking at our target market.
And what about your husband?
So he's a lawyer.
Okay.
And he's very supportive. Me and him, we both had a very tough time when our first was born. So I had. Yeah.
It was a difficult baby. I was there. It was a difficult baby.
She was a very difficult baby, yes. But yeah, so he came to the football camp because again, football, I don't know why men were majorly interested.
Yeah. If I was to go, I would go to that.
Exactly.
Events I saw on your page. Yeah.
He made a lot of friends, and we had we saw like a lot of parents mingling with each other.
And that was the first time I think he saw us working as well. तो उसके बाद भी हमें काफी वो था कि you're doing a really good job.
Encouragement बहुत मिली थी, yes.
And have you made friends through the play dates?
Definitely. हाँ. So what we do is normally play dates में हम ये करते होते थे, we create like a WhatsApp group of that.
Okay.
जब तक हमारी app नहीं थी, तो वो हम WhatsApp group create कर लेते हैं, तो फिर उसके अंदर if any mom is having any problem, तो वो WhatsApp पे फौरन डाल के फिर we would basically try to help the mom.
Okay.
That problem, yeah.
And you're both sisters.
Yeah. If that wasn't clear.
Yeah, if that wasn't clear to our audience, you both are sisters. Is it hard working with your sister, or has it been seamless?
Oh, acha.
It has its perks and its cons. It's very hard, I think, for me in particular, because obviously I don't have kids. I am not having any responsibilities घर पे उस तरह जैसे she does. तो मेरे लिए वो 10 to 5 या 9 to 5 maintain करना बहुत easy होता है. You just have to get up, go. I have a puppy who is also very demanding. उसकी थोड़ी demands होती है, लेकिन मेरे लिए 10 to 5 करना बहुत आसान होता है. For her, obviously, it's very difficult.
Right.
So when she works, I think she probably works from 9 to 5 रात से लेके सुबह तक.
9 to 2 is like my work time.
So for her to then have to contact me to get like approvals for things or for like questions कि किस तरह हम चीजें manage करें. For me, that sort of makes me have to work around the clock, which is really hard for me.
Why don't you just change the schedule to her schedule and chill the rest of the time?
वो लेकिन फिर office कैसे चलेगा?
Okay, makes
So
sense.
then that aspect is really hard for me. But then I think the biggest pro that I've seen so far is that obviously we're sisters. We've spent so many years together. We're so in tune with what the other person is thinking.
Exactly.
कि हमें सिर्फ एक बात करने की देर होती है. And the person already knows कि मैं क्या कहने लगी हूँ. And she already knows इसको कैसे handle करना. तो वो बड़ा easy हो जाता है for us to pick up जहाँ पे दोनों की weaknesses हैं and like sort of highlight each other's strengths as well. So like for me, it's very difficult to pick up the phone and call people. She is a pro at that. So any calls I have to like, Ummam, please इसको call करो, मुझे नहीं पता क्या कहना है.
So vendors basically I'm dealing with, she's dealing with the inside people.
Yeah.
तो हमें
And you guys have some employees, right? Are
Yes.
they all female?
No, so we tried to keep it very heavily female. So हमारे जो we sort of outsource the development of the app itself. So we're not quite sure उनकी team क्या है. I'm assuming it's mostly males. We have 2 other more senior male employees who sort of are the go-between between us and the development team. They've been working with us for also like 9-10 years. They've been here from the start because obviously it makes it a lot easier for us to understand what the developers are asking of us as well. We have those. Then there's the 2 of us. Then uske baad we actually did like a internship program over the summer. Usme we had 2 females and 1 male. And that was like one of the best teams that we've ever had. I think they made like a huge impact on how we grew the company, and unke 2 months they were very sort of like exponential for us as well, because they were so
exponential for the brand, exponential for us as like growing in the sense that manage team कैसे manage करनी है,
वो भी बड़ी skill होती है.
Yeah. What are some of the things that we need to focus on, maybe that we're missing out on? And again, I would say I'm a proud millennial, but I think I don't know if you're like on the cusp.
I'm on the cusp, हाँ.
Yeah, तो लेकिन जो Gen Z है ना, वो उसको target कैसे करना है, उसको चीज़ क्या पसंद आती है, उसने किस तरह करना है, because at the end of the day,
but like our Gen Z you're talking about, are they having kids yet?
But that's what I'm saying. वो बाद में जाके वो focus होगा ना. And I feel like जो Gen Z कर रही होती है ना, that has like a spillover effect on like
millennials as well, because they're still trying to be cool.
Yeah.
I feel like
so yeah. I always relate this to like TikTok. Like TikTok is huge, और जिसकी वजह से Instagram obviously started to emulate what TikTok is doing.
YouTube, everyone.
So the attention span of like your average consumer is decreasing. तो आपने उस moment में उस बंदे को capture करना है, और आपने कहना है कि hey look, this is something new that we're doing, look at us. वो बहुत थोड़ा सा
I think Gen Z does it best.
Yeah, and Gen Z I feel like does it best. I was reading this research, और उसके अंदर लिखा होता है that the amount of time that you scroll on your phone, अगर उसको pile up किया जाए, उसकी length किया जाए, तो it's like the size of a big pen. तो आप daily आप इतना swipe कर रहे हो, उस वक्त आपने उस बंदे को इस तरह की चीज़ सिखानी है कि वो रोक के क्लिक करे, फिर आपके पेज पे जाए, और फिर देखिए आप कर क्या रहे हैं. I feel like that's where Gen Z is like the best at it.
But do you guys feel like sometimes with your particular product, you have to be in that situation to, it's kind of like a doctor, right? Until I don't need the doctor, I don't go to the doctor. But then when I need the doctor, that's all I can think about. Is it similar? Are most of your audience either, pregnant, having a child, or already have a child? Or are there people who are just, I don't know, interested in the topic matter generally?
I think we have majorly moms and pregnant moms. We have fathers too, but I feel like जिस तरह हमने इसको लेके चले ना, with like our 3rd workshop that we did in Islam, that was Learn to Love Your Body. That was open for everybody. So you don't have to be married, you didn't have to have like kids. आप teenager होते, आप 20s, 30s में होते, unmarried, you could have signed up for the workshop.
We had someone as young as 13 coming to that workshop as well.
So I think हमारा जो ये point of view ना, that we want to keep the workshops a little broad in the sense that we try to target both sides of the market. Parenting wali side bhi, as well as other psychological or mental issues that people can have in the beginning.
And something doesn't need to be very serious for us to deal with it, because you're always going to have difficulties in your life. It does not matter what stage you're in. So if there is a place that these people can go to and to have like a community there as well, that is very important. I think especially for women, क्योंकि those sort of issues जो हैं वो हम मतलब it's a bit harder for us to deal with them than maybe men, because of the way our society is structured and stuff. So isliye creating those spaces for women in general has been a very important part for me as well, because obviously I'm not married, so I don't necessarily relate to the pregnancy stuff or the postpartum stuff, but I then obviously bring in that perspective कि हम बाकियों को कैसे help कर सकते हैं. So definitely that as well. And then support groups as well. We're thinking of doing support groups just for the average woman. Like she doesn't need to fulfill any criteria to come to these support groups. So we are sort of expanding in that way as well. So the app can stay limited to pregnant women and moms.
But the Instagram itself
can become its own sort of thing.
And do you guys think that mental health is a big issue in Pakistan, and are we taking steps? I know obviously businesses like yours will help, but are we taking enough steps, for not just women, generally, for people's health, mental health? It seems to be a problem, and do you think that there's strides being made to change that, or have you seen anything that you feel like is helping with such a problem?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing about mental health that everybody needs to recognize that everybody has it. Like it doesn't have, obviously it doesn't have to be an issue, but everybody has mental health. And men tend to suffer a lot more than women do when it comes to depression and like suicidal thoughts and anxiety and stuff, but they're just not able to voice it properly because they're not given the channels that women are given. Because हम जिस तरह communicate करते हैं या हम अपनी दोस्तों से जिस तरह communicate करते हैं, it's very different to how guys communicate with each other. So it is a very important issue in Pakistan right now because I think my country has been through so much. We've had so much collective trauma over the past years.
Yeah.
The flooding themselves is such a huge trauma for everyone in this country.
The
Is that
terrorist attacks,
yeah.
वो बहुत बड़ा. I feel like I think we all have like post-traumatic stress.
Yeah. And we're so desensitized to everything that's happening कि हमारे लिए बहुत अब simple सी चीज़ हो गई है. Flooding की भी एक हफ्ता बात होगी, उसके बाद कौन पूछेगा? But those people are going to have to struggle with it for the rest of their lives. So these are issues that are definitely, we need to address them. And a lot of people are doing a lot of good work.
Yeah.
We know of this, I think, NGO in Karachi that's coming out with an app that's solely focused on mental health. So they're doing like an AI approach to it. Where they can link you to psychiatrists and stuff like that. So obviously people are trying to make their spaces, and they're, I think, also one of the first in Pakistan that are doing something like that. So it is an area that has a lot of potential. But
I think there is a little bit of a growth happening as well. I think ये नहीं है कि वो सिर्फ एक बिल्कुल blank void है.
It's better than before.
People are stepping in to fill that void.
And I mean, you guys are sort of pioneers as women entrepreneurs because there's fewer of them in Pakistan maybe than there are in the world. Are there any inspirations that you guys have locally, internationally, people that you look up to, mentors, people you want to be like?
Yeah, so I have one. She is, her name is Grace. She went to Oxford, and she's not American, she is English. So she sort of started her business from the ground up. She was studying while she made it, and now her company got like $4.7 billion of investment.
Wow.
So she is in the fashion industry, so it's more of like a sustainable workout stuff. Uski growth, the way I've seen it, and the way that she sort of explains her business model is very impressive to me, and that really inspires me to become more like that. So merely that she has been a very good, and then obviously Pakistan, maybe there's amazing women that are doing so much
definitely.
work.
I feel like I don't know if I'm saying the name right. It's Women in Cohort, the one that I sent you. जिसमें वो women accelerator program है. So women co-founders or women CEOs, they basically go into that program, or I think it was InnoVentures करके global something. I don't know. I'm not sure. But again, I feel like this is a huge potential for men. I feel like women are doing great stuff in Pakistan.
There's also another one that sorry for cutting. There's another one in Pakistan. She is working on menstrual health in the in interior Sindh and interior Balochistan. I follow her on LinkedIn. I think her name is Sabah something. I'm not sure uska full name kya hai. She's doing amazing work. She is bringing in AI into Sindh and Balochistan and teaching them about menstrual health and how it all works, why it is so important, what are the sort of steps that they need to take to improve their quality of life when it comes to periods and stuff. So she is a big inspiration for me as well.
All right, perfect. Okay, I won't take up much more of your time. I just have one final question for you guys, and then we can sort of call it a day. Do you guys think that in your journey so far, since it's a very short journey, it's only been 7 or 8 months, that what is the potential of Goud, and how big do you see this becoming?
So
I
think it's gonna grow.
Yeah.
And I think it has a huge potential because of the fact कि हमारी जो population growth itself है वो बहुत बड़ी है. I feel like there's like a rising trend towards seeking help as well. I feel like people are not shying away from taking help as much as they did, like I feel 10 or 15 years ago. So I do think it's gonna be huge.
And we have such a huge young population that's sort of coming into these years of now becoming parents, and they're not gonna necessarily have the same sort of house setups that we used to have in the beginning. Lots of people are thinking of moving out and having their own nuclear families and stuff. तो उनके लिए वो support maybe वहाँ से ना आए, हम provide कर सकें. So I do genuinely see a very big sort of growth for us, and it has clearly sort of resonated with a lot of people. We've had like an exponential growth in the 4 months that we have been doing this. We've had like over 300 people sign up for our events. We've gained over almost 6,000 followers on our Instagram just in 4 months. So it's clearly working. We're doing something right, hopefully.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
hopefully that can
hopefully.
continue
Yeah.
to keep going on as well.
Chalo, perfect. Good luck with everything, and
Thank
we hope
you.
to
Thank you.
see you guys again soon.
Thank
Thank you guys for watching, and please subscribe to our channel.